afternoon, or good morning, or good night, depending on when you're watching this. Uh, it's Mr. G, as if you didn't already know. And today, we're going to try to answer the question, what is art? What does the word art mean to you? Does it remind you of paintings, sculptures, illustrations, anything woven from fabric, crochet, needlepoint, blah, 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 blah? Uh, does art make you think of museums? Does it make you think of galleries? Or does it make you think of paints and other supplies that we use when we create? The word art may make you think about those places and objects, and if that's the case, you're right. You're totally, totally right. Artists make art, and viewers visit galleries. We, as artists, we are creating for our audience, for the viewers. We make art. We make art through many different forms of medium on various subjects. And remember, I've talked about medium. And the medium are it's just the materials that we use. It's the supplies that we use. And the subject is what we're creating that to represent through artwork. So art involves seeing, but seeing effectively is a special skill. If you know how you see art, it can fill you with all just many different kinds of feelings. It can fill you with wonder, sense of curiosity, amazement, or astonishment. I mean, astonishment. Random Frieza appearance. See, astonishing. Yes, the nerdiness doesn't stop just because we are stuck indoors in distance learning. Sorry, not sorry. Art in today's world is much more than traditional forms of drawing, painting, sculpture. Artists experiment and combine new media such as video and plastics. I mean, it could be argued, and it has been argued for several decades, whether or not movies and video games can be art. Video games more so because that argument is now ongoing. Art and film and cinema is almost hand in hand at this point. Go figure. So we're bombarded by images and messages created by graphic artists. And graphic artists work a lot in advertising. So when you're looking at a television commercial or seeing a print ad or a still ad or even some kind of advertisement on the highway that was created by a graphic artist or had some kind of artist involved. Art is everywhere. Artists, designers, and architects have designed our household objects, cars, buildings. The computer that I'm talking into right now was designed by a special kind of artist. The furniture we sit on, artists. The buildings that we're in, artists of special nature. Art is everywhere. But we need to know, what is it? So art can come in various forms. And in art class, it's traditional media. It's works that have form, style, and subject matter that are familiar to the public. Paintings, sculpture, illustrations. Art that's what immediately pops into our head when we ask what is art. And then we talk about aesthetics. Aesthetics, how it looks, how it makes us feel. When we talk about traditional art, it could be a landscape, something familiar, recognizable, some kind of form, style, or subject matter that we deal with. And in class, we do a lot of traditional art. We work our way from traditional to non-traditional, which is currently inhabiting the digital space that our classroom is in. And although you won't see artwork everywhere specifically, or some specific place everywhere. Let me go dial that back. Dial it back. Some art you won't see. Ancient art in cave paintings that could be closed off to the public. Um, Art exists in a museum that is in a faraway land that you won't see unless you visit. Traditional art inhabits a space and it makes us feel comfortable. It's familiar. Uh, then we get into something a little more abstract. And abstract art doesn't necessarily have a specific meaning. It doesn't resemble something. It could be a series of geometric shapes and have a different name altogether. Hashtag not an ad for McDonald's. It's just their Coke is really good. Uh, and it's art. Abstract art is something that makes us feel something. It invokes feelings, and we've talked about this in class before. Artwork has style that makes it look. Some artwork has style that makes it look like a comic strip. And me, yeah, I love comic books. I am a huge fan. So much so that during our isolation and quarantine, I've been trying to fill in the gaps of my Batman collection, and I got a graphic novel in the mail this morning. So, huzzah! Why? Why would something be considered art? That's a question that you want to think about when we're talking about what is art. You want to talk about art, the history of art as itself, and that dates back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. When I ask the question, what is art? There is no defined answer. When you're asked the question, when you ask yourself, or when you ask somebody else, what is art? Art can be any number of things, like I've rambled on about for the last 7 to 8 minutes or so. Art invokes a feeling. Art is an object to be enjoyed, something that we look at. It gets us discussing various things. Art is the history of the world. Some scholars believe, and myself included, that art predates the written word. Heck, without art, we wouldn't even have letters. A lot of people, hundreds of years ago, even thousands of years ago, they could not read if there was a written language. And art communicated the news and what was going on, and it communicated stories. Without art, we wouldn't know what was going on hundreds of years ago. We wouldn't know what was going on thousands of years ago. What is art? Well, for this art teacher, art is everything. If I wanted to teach a quick math lesson, well, guess what? I can do that with art. If I wanted to teach history, guess what? Visual art is the visual history of the world. If I want to teach a little language arts, guess what? Special kind of artist created the letters that we read. Art is everywhere and everything. It's the clothes that we wear. It's the furniture that we sit on. It's the vehicles that we drive, the technology that we use, the books that we read. So what is art? What is art to you? Let me know. That is your assignment. What is art to you? Tell me. I'm honestly intrigued to find out what art is to you, my students. All right, well, this has been a fun ramble. I